educated on details on vitamin D deficiency diseases and its example of disease that comes under it. Like if you don't get enough vitamin D, what are some of the diseases that you can actually, generate from it?
Okay. When you don't have enough vitamin D in your system, it will result into certain diseases, which is very dangerous to we humans. First of all, when lack of adequate vitamin D in our system may result in what we call rickets in children. And rickets is a very common disease, which is mostly found in children and infants. And it is characterized by defective bone growth. And vitamin D plays an important role in calcium and phosphorus metabolism. In the absence of this inorganic salt, that is the calcium phosphate, the deposition of this inorganic salt in the bones does not proceed normally. Instead, the softened bones become stunted and also curved. And so that is what happens or what leads to the rickets. And the rickets may also lead to what we call the bow legs, knee knock, and or knock knees, and also the beady appearance of the ribs. Beady appearance of the ribs, which is also called the rachitic rosary, at the juncture to the breastbone. Some your ribs will be showing much. It is also a form of ricket. And also later in life, one may also experience what we call other lung diseases, and also difficult in childbearing. So if the child is suffering from ricket and you don't treat it or you don't cater for it, later in the child's future, the child is going to have some difficulty in giving birth, and also will suffer from lung diseases and others due to the narrow chest and the pelvis. So that's some of the disease associated with lack of vitamin D.
Wow, wow. I never knew that. If you don't get enough vitamin D,
Yeah.
it could lead to infertility.
Yeah,
Wow.
difficult in childbearing because of the
Yes,
narrow
narrow.
chest and pelvis.
Wow. I think we need to educate our mothers and then for them to educate the young girls too,
Yeah.
because this is very important in their life. Thank you very much, Mr. Iking, and
Thank
God
you.
really bless you.
Thank you.
So, I wanted to ask you, are there any symptoms associated with any of the diseases? Like, let's say if I don't get enough of vitamin D, what will show, how am I going to know I'm suffering from deficiency of vitamin D? Like, what some of the symptoms that is gonna show for people or myself to know that I'm actually like facing that problem?
Okay, thank you very much. And also, before I answer your question, I would like to add this also to you that an advanced form of ricket that is in adulthood, we call it osteomalacia. That is, adults will start experiencing bone pains and they also experience breakage of bones due to lack of vitamin D. And to go straight to your question also, there are a lot of symptoms in children that must send a message to the mother or the parent that I need to provide my child with a lot of vitamin D. The child will experience what we call he will experience what we call restlessness. There will be profuse sweating, that is abnormal sweating of the child, and also there will be lack of muscle tone in the abdomen and also the limbs. Also, there will be excessive softening of the skull. So as a child, when you give birth and you know that your child, as the child is growing up, the skull is excessively soft than normal, it means it should give you an indication that the child is suffering from a ricket or in the verge of suffering from a devastating ricket problem. And also the what we call a delay in learning to sit, walk or crawl. So that means when the child is having a ricket problem, there will be delay in learning to sit, there will be delay in learning to walk, there will be delay in learning to crawl. In olden days, I heard something like when a child is delaying to sit, they will put what we call thorns there. They will think that the child is intentionally not walking,
Yeah,
or
being
not
lazy.
sitting on others, and they will put thorns there for the child to sit on. It is very cruel. When a child sits on, the child will be crying, but the child will not walk. But still, they will be doing this, and they have been doing this to a lot of children. And sorry for those children that they did that to. And to the mothers, it is not their fault. It is lack of vitamin D that is resulting to that. And also we have what we call delay in the eruption of teeth. You see a child that has grown enough and still the teeth is not coming, and people may think that's a problem or this, but it's due to lack of vitamin D. So this should give you a sign that there's a problem and the child is having problem with rickets, and you should actually work on that. And lastly is there will be tetany, what we call muscle spasm. It may also occur in children. So these are the signs that when you see on children, you should know that the child is suffering from ricket problem, and so now you should provide the child with vitamin D or expose the child to enough sunshine. So that this is some of the symptoms you can do.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much.
Mm.
I know we are learning a lot from it. So I also want to know, like, does rickets always respond to therapy?
Yes, ricket does not, like, ricket does not usually respond to vitamin D therapy. It does not. It does not. There's a rare form of ricket called hypophosphatemia.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rare form of ricket. That one, it is inherited as a sex-linked trait. You can get it from your parents, and others. It is being transferred from the genes. And the actual genetic defect is not clear to us, but we know that it is inherited as a sex-linked trait, and it does not respond normally or well to vitamin D therapy. If it is 100%, it responds just 10 or 15% to it, and that is how there. So there's a rare form of rickets.
No. So I think prevention is better than cure. So
Exactly.
I think it's better we start and then giving our kid vitamin D.
Yes.
If they don't understand, they can actually get the food source and the plant source base, so they can help them to, I mean, grow well and have strong bones. Yeah. So I would also want to know what some of the factors that can lead to vitamin D deficiency diseases.
Yeah, some of the factors that can lead to deficiency disease is one, when there's lack of or adequate ultraviolet B radiation. Actually, there's a lot of radiation. We have the visible light, infrared, we have ultraviolet A, B, C. All of this is only the ultraviolet B which is important to we humans. So it's the ultraviolet B which is very important to we humans. And so that means factors that can lead to that is lack of ultraviolet, this by ultraviolet B, and this may be due to sunshine or light passing through certain glass, also contaminated air, and also polluted certain clouds. Also polluted air will lead to certain formation of certain clouds also, and this mediums does not allow enough or adequate ultraviolet B radiation to strike on our skin. So when one is having problem, lack of ultraviolet B radiation will lead to vitamin D deficiency disease. And also we have, when one is having problem with fat absorption, when you have, vitamin D itself is a fat soluble alcohol or sequestrants. So when you have problem with fat absorption, that means automatically you have problem with your bowel, or you have problem with your gastrointestinal tract, and this goes a long way to affect the person, and it leads to vitamin D deficiency diseases. And lastly is lack of vitamin D in our diet. Vitamin D, lack of vitamin D in our food substances, and it also play a key role. So we should also check that. That's the main factors.
Okay, thank you very much. So for my last question, we know that the sun plays a huge role in vitamin D. I mean, providing us with vitamin D,
Yeah.
and we would like to know more about the sun. Maybe can you tell us more about the sun?
Yeah, the sun was formed 4.5 billion years ago in the Milky Way Orion sphere, and it was formed when a dust of gas collapsed, and in the midst of this formation, it condensed into what we call the burning mass of gas, or the burning ball of gas stars that we call our sun. That is a short something about how the sun is formed. And also, the sun is divided into 6 layers. We have the corona, the chromosphere, the photosphere. We have what we call the convective zone, the radiative zone, and also the core. In terms of atom count, the sun is made up of about 91%, or let's say 91% or 89% hydrogen, and also 8.1% helium, and 0.1% heavier element like carbon and nitrogen. The sun's fiery nature, it has extensive gravitational pull and also tremendous magnetic field, plays a role in the reason why we call it the heart of the earth. And in the sun, the core of the sun can reach a temperature of about I think 25 million degree Fahrenheit. And in combination with also the sun's gravitational pull, hydrogen atoms join together or combine together to produce what we call helium atom. And this helium combined together to form helium atom in a process we call the thermonuclear fusion. And this thermonuclear fusion leads to the production of radiative rays, solar rays, electricity, also light and also heat as we get from this earth. So the radiation is the most important part to us. So it's due to this thermonuclear fusion that we get the radiation that we need. So that is why the sun is very important to us. So,
Okay. Thank you. I think we've learned a lot more about the sun, vitamin D, and how it's even equipped to, give us vitamin D. And then I would say I'm very proud to have interviewed you, and then very honored to have, gotten this knowledge from you. And I hope everybody actually picks something from it, and then know the importance of vitamin D in our children. Because when you grow older, I don't think you can really correct it. Yeah, you can't correct it when you're older, but when you are kids and we have children, you can actually help them to prevent deficiencies and everything. Because it does, the sun really does a great job in our life, and we need to start appreciating it.
yes.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Aiken.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you too.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.